So perhaps you do live selling on online streaming sites like Whatnot or TikTok Shop or eBay. I'm going to show you how you would use Halumin-C in a situation like that. Most of those apps are single camera shoots. So the seller will have the camera set up on the item that they're talking about, and they'll want to just be able to move items in and out pretty quickly and show close-ups of the item and talk about them and get to the next one. So this is the scenario that you might use for that. The Halumin-C is great for this. Also, the original Halumin H18, which is why we have the streaming combo in the tier. Halumin H18 is actually great for larger items or being able to like talk with your face and explain about the item at the same time. But we're going to focus on the Halumin-C for this video. And what I have set up is this first shot that you see right now is of a down shot looking at a toned coin. And you can do things like just show the gleam or show it under different lighting conditions. So tilting that back and forth to look at the surface texture of the coin or different combinations of those. So you can bring that gleam back up and then rotate that as well. I'll just sort of show you the depth and the interest, and then you can also show off the luster and get that cartwheel going. But if you're talking about different items and you're not examining them in detail like this, a lot of people would prefer to use the turntable. So this is how quickly you can reset the item. You just rotate the halo to the side, pull the item out, putting in the turntable platform and an item, which this is going to be another coin in a slab. So from there, we see we've got it in there and it's a little bit dark. First thing you can do is adjust the lighting for an item on the turntable. So I'm going to turn up those little spotlights, and I've got the halo up, and then I've got this little tone light right there. So from this point on, it's set up. I can turn the turntable on and adjust the speed how I want it. So let's say we're going like this. So this is a great way to talk about the item. If you look at when it turns, there's a little bit of that glare that goes across the top of it. I can just turn this off and use these spotlights, and then I don't get any of that. So that might be a great way. So now we're talking about the coin. We're going through, all the features and whatever it does, and I want to move on to the next item, and it's going to be a different kind of item. So I might have a raw coin, for instance, on the little tweezer holders that I've got here. It's very quick and easy to switch that out. I don't actually even have to pull the tray out. I can just reach in, grab that, and then put the other item on there. And we're ready to go. And now that's rotating around, and we're talking about that. Now that might need some different lighting, so I can bring up the top of the ring there, and we just keep it going and move on to the next thing. Now let's say our next item is something like a die-cast car, like this little matchbox guy. Again, that's going to be a different type of item, but super easy. Just reach in there, pull this raw coin holder out, and put the car in its place. And this might require some different lights. Maybe I want to turn down those lights, and I want to turn on a little bit of mood and give it more of a showroom look. You can do this without the lid as well if you want a different background. So you have less control over the lighting, so you'd want to be in a room that was like a little bit more dim, but just by pulling the lid off, you can now have a different background on that item. So you can have it lit in the background, project your logo or your street feed, your feed name or whatever you want back here, and it's not going to mess with that. So there's a lot of different ways you can customize it. It also makes it even easier to switch your items out and put different items on there. So there's a couple of extra things with the turntable that are super handy. It has this sort of slip mechanism, so we didn't want it to get damaged if something blocked it for some reason. I just turned on the spotlights again. So it basically is, there's a post that goes into a hole, and that hole rotates. And so if something stops the turntable, it just stops and it keeps slipping around, let go, and it starts again. So there's no like clicking, or you're gonna worry about grinding gears. There's that fail safe in there where that's always gonna rotate and be good. So in a nutshell, that's a really easy and simple method of using it. You can either have the top mounted camera and you can show items off in detail like that, or you can have the side mounted camera and you can show the rotating item and just switch them out very quickly. But it doesn't take much time at all, and it's super easy to use for your streaming purposes. Keep the questions coming, and I'll try to make a video to answer your questions as soon as possible.